Hello, welcome to my 11th video. This is on nurturing of the planet Earth by ancient Indians. Now, when I read the newspapers, and I'm so really disturbed by all kinds of ecological disruptions and uh, landslides and flooding and forest fires happening all across the globe. Now, that makes me set thinking about Hinduism. Did you know Hinduism is the only religion of the world which talks about environmental care, and it is the most environmental friendly religion in the whole world. Now, Hindus regard everything around it, whether it's a living organism or non living organism, to be an essence of the divinity. Now, whether they are rivers, whether streams, whether waterfalls, whether mountains, peaks, or whether minerals, or whether it is the ores or the stars or the planets, they are all considered as a part of the divinity themselves. Now, this is because the divine reality is present as a prana or the Shakti, now which is an energy which passes through the divine to all the living organisms, and it permeates every atom, electron, molecule of every matter, whether living or non-living, and this is essence the fabric of the nature. Now, just like a speck of the fire which emits from the fire itself is same as a fire, the same way the divinity is there in all of us and in all the organisms and matter all across the world. Now, a Hindu greets the another person by saying Namaste, which means I bow down to the divinity within you, which is such a beautiful way of greeting. The same way they regarded in our ancient texts that every organism is divine and you need to actually take care and nurture such. Now, according to the great epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, religious texts like Vedas, Puranas, the Bhagavad Gita, and others, they have taught us that they have taught about the earliest messages of preservation of the environment and ecological balance. Can you really understand that they thought about environmental and ecological balance way back in the past? Nature or earth has never been considered as a hostile element, and you should not conquer nature, you should not fight her, you should not try to dominate her. And in fact, man is prohibited from dominating nature, from exploiting nature, but which is so, nowadays because of mining and because of urbanization, industrialization, we have created havoc with the nature, and now we are bearing the results of our own action. The rishis or the wise men of the past have always had a great respect for the nature. Now, this was not some superstitious primitive belief. This was not something like that. They perceived that all the material manifestations are there in nature itself. The Bhagavad Gita, our religious text, teaches us not to change the environment, not to fight it, not to try to control it. If the environment is hostile, if it is difficult, then you have to tolerate your environment. So, ecology is an inherent part of the spiritual world view of Hinduism. Our ancestors knew that man had to live on this planet together in symbiotic relationship with other living and non-living organisms. This planet Earth belongs to everyone, not just to us, mankind. In Vedic scriptures, the earth is presented like a spiritual spectrum consolidated with a phase Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The word Kutum means an extended family, not just your own family, but for everybody who walks in, your guests, your community and others. So it's love, respect, caring and sharing for all. And that symbiotic relationship between man and other man and nature is always needed for the survival of all life on this planet. Now, have you ever wondered why do we feed crows before every meal that we have? Now, that was a tradition still followed in my in-laws family. Whenever they cook something, they offered it to the crows first, is to call the crows to have it. Now, if you know well, crows are like, they were considered as ancestors. So we were told that since you fed the crows, your ancestors are appeased and they are happy. But there's a scientific reason behind this. Now, actually, crows are the birds which don't refuse any kind of food. They eat everything that is offered. The only thing, they are very clever and shrewd and they can detect any poisonous matter in the food. So, the ancient Indians use the crows as a tester for the food, in case, because food was specially, there was no electricity those days. Foods were prepared in kitchens and sometimes light would not come, so they were scared that something would have fallen into the food. So they first offered to the crows. Now if the crows refused it, then that food was not meant for human consumption. They used to throw it away. Now coming back to the food habits of the ancient Indian. Now they believe that man should consume all the food that is there in his own region. He need not go outside to procure his own food. Whatever is grown in this region is good enough for him. Now, our ancestors knew that the human body functions by a system of energy flow between different organs. Now, ancient scriptures of naturopathy and Ayurveda have held references of the organ clock. The organ clock, consisting of 12 organs in our body, they mostly function within a 12-hour span of time. So if you consume food late in the night, say after 10 p.m. and between 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. food should not be consumed. If you consume this food, or if you have junk food between your meals, that food will turn toxic in your body and the alkaline nature of the body will become very dangerously acidic, and that, they say, is a reason for all the diseases in human body. Now, alkaline food that they mostly recommended for us are the millets, the foxtail millet, kodu millet and all that, which is also used as an alternative treatment for diabetic people. Now, according to the ancient sages of India, the earth is revered as the Mother Earth, creating various habitats for all living organisms. Now, as the wheel within the cosmic energy, the earth nurtures us, cares for us, and takes care of every organism in the world. So let us live the policy of live and let live, and it is high time that we stop destruction of this Mother Earth and we nurture the surface, because this planet actually is a home for our children and for the future generations. So what did you think about my video? Do leave your thoughts and your words and in the comments below this video, and I will come back to you next Thursday with a different topic from ancient Indian rituals, practices, culture, science and technology, and this forms the basis on which my paintings are based, and I'm influenced by these ideas and beliefs. Thank you so much for watching and being with me.